Hello and welcome to Layman's Terms. So, by now the pattern's pretty clear, right? Every time we're close to a deal with Iran, Israel just sabotages our negotiations, including the most recent deal. After it was announced, Israel provoked Iran again, sabotaging Trump's progress on his 80th birthday, no less. I use the word provoked here intentionally because Israel has to know what they're doing by now. This is just another confirmed case that their tactics in Lebanon were responsible for failed U.S.-Iranian negotiations directly. Just earlier this month, the Iranian state media reported suspending U.S. talks after Israel threatened to strike Lebanon's capital, Beirut. Then after Beirut was actually hit, the Iranian foreign minister confirmed the cancellation of negotiations for that reason. So, I believe it was Tucker Carlson who counted, and 38 times Trump has declared that we were close to a deal. So God knows how many of those were also due to Israel. What we do know is that despite Iran's promise to retaliate for this latest attack, Trump was able to convince them otherwise and secure this deal. A face-to-face meeting was even scheduled for June 19th in Switzerland to iron out the technicalities. However, on the 18th, just a day before, Israel struck Lebanon again, as well as announcing its refusal to withdraw from Lebanon or return any occupied Lebanese territory.
לנווט את דרכנו בתבונה ובשיקול דעת. נשמור על הישגי הממשלה, נשמור על הישגי המלחמה. אלה הישגים של עם ישראל כולו. כשם שהחזרנו את הביטחון והשגשוג לעוטף עזה, כך נחזיר את הביטחון והשגשוג ליישובי הצפון. זה מחייב שמירה על רצועת הביטחון בדרום לבנון, זה מחייב שלא נצא משם כל עוד צורכי הביטחון של ישראל מחייבים זאת, כי הרצועה הזאת מפרידה בין מחבלי חיזבאללה לאזרחינו ויישובינו. ובראייה רחבה יותר, אנחנו נמשיך לדבוק במטרה העליונה שהנחתה אותנו והנחתה אותי במהלך רוב חיי הבוגרים. לאיראן לא יהיה נשק גרעיני.
Alright, so the initial rough agreement had 14 points. The first of which states that both sides will agree on, quote, the immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon. And it also guarantees that, quote, the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon. Clearly meaning the original territory must be returned to Lebanon. So this agreement, while only signed by the U.S. and Iran, in spirit and word extends to Israel, who are seen as a U.S. proxy, in the same way that Hezbollah is seen as Iran's proxy. So at least this is how Iran views the agreement. And they've said as much. The Iranian foreign minister, again, stated that, and again, quote, any continued occupation of Lebanese territory will be regarded by us as a violation of this memorandum of understanding. So the agreement includes Iran, the U.S., and their allies. This obviously binds Israel, but should logically also extend to Hezbollah. The Iranian foreign minister went on to confirm, saying the two parties to this memorandum of understanding are the U.S. and Israel on one side, and Iran and Hezbollah on the other. So, despite continued aggression by this terrorist organization, Hezbollah, Israel is still losing the PR battle by simply racking up a higher civilian kill count, as well as the destruction of Lebanon's infrastructure. So as our proxy, we expect better of Israel. We expect moral superiority. Remember, Trump hasn't hit any critical infrastructure, like power plants or water treatment facilities, despite the threats. And he's done this on moral grounds, specifically to avoid civilian casualties, even though he could achieve victory much faster if he had. He seems fed up with Israel's insubordination. And it's about time. At this G7 conference, in front of the world's top 7 economic powers, Trump said this.
I'm not happy with the way Israel has handled themselves with Lebanon and with Hezbollah. They should have been able to do the job faster. It just goes on forever. And when that happens, it throws a negative light on the big deal, and that's the deal with Iran. I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Because to be honest with you, I think they do a better job of doing it.
Trump's new backbone with Israel does make steps towards clearing his name regarding Israel's Epstein files, because if they did have blackmail on him and on Trump, they clearly don't anymore, or maybe he just doesn't care, which I won't complain about, but good luck. Anyways, now that Israel has literally struck again, Iran's negotiation team has canceled the planned talks in Switzerland. So J.D. Vance was supposed to meet them for these face-to-face talks, but he had to cancel his planned trip last minute. He had this to say about Israel's behavior.
Thank you, sir. Jordan Conradson with the Gateway Pundit. I want to talk back to the Lebanon component of the deal. There's a report in Axios that Netanyahu's fuming over this. Israel doesn't feel bound to the MOU as it relates to Lebanon. If, as you mentioned, your frustration with Israel striking in Beirut, hitting apartment buildings, if that continues, could it torpedo the deal? And what would the U.S.'s response be to a broader war in Lebanon involving Israel and Hezbollah?
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into hypotheticals that could torpedo the deal, because I think the president's expectation is that all of our friends, the Israelis, the Arabs in the region, we're going to work together and actually see this deal to completion. Now, I saw the Axios report, that Netanyahu is fuming. That's not reflective of the conversations that I've had with him, but maybe he's saying something to somebody else that he's not saying to me. What I will say, and this does bother me, is that you have seen people within Bibi's cabinet who have come out and attacked the deal, and in some ways very personally attacked the President of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world's superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world. And the second message I would give to some of those cabinet members, Bibi, to his credit, has not gone down this path, but to some of these cabinet members in Israel who are attacking the President of the United States, the other thing that I would say is that over the last 3 months, 2/3 of the defensive weapons that have protected your homeland have been built by American hands and paid for by American tax dollars. The problem for Israel is not Donald J. Trump. And anybody in Israel who thinks their biggest problem is the President of the United States needs to wake up and smell the reality of the situation that country is in.
Wait, so basically 2/3 of Israel's defense has been paid for by the U.S. while we all struggle financially? I mean, it's easy to act tough when the world hegemon is bankrolling your nation. But this entire venture is just dragging the poor and the middle class further and further behind. I mean, I do appreciate our leaders putting an end to this absurdity and reviving our reputation a bit. I mean, yeah, we didn't involve Israel in the negotiations, and we just sent them a copy of the deal. But we need more than just that posturing. We need actions that lead to results. And namely, Israel recognizing their position, and frankly, their place. Our satellites that exist based on our benevolence should really just behave. However, even if we leave now, our reputation's still stained from our subordination or manipulation. But withdrawing now may require a further $300 billion for restitutions. The Memorandum of Understanding clearly states, we will, with partners, create this fund. And Trump claims we're not personally going to pay in, but regional investors will supply the funding. But if this does eventually go through, we need to be vocal about our disappointment. Because only losers pay restitution. And frankly, we can't afford to change out one parasite for another. We need actual domestic financial relief. I want leadership thinking America first. Where's our $300 billion? We need to at least hold Trump to his words here. If not, we'll look like complete clowns on the world stage. He's just saying this to save face. But what do you guys think? Will this deal completely blow up, or will Israel be brought to heel? Let me know what you think in the comments, and let's hope the deal doesn't leave us worse off than when we started. Thank you for your time.